What's up, y'all? Can't thank you enough for joining me on another episode of Cruisin with Kevin, presented by Crep Protect and powered by Genesis. I am your host, Kevin Cuenca, and today's guest is DJ D-Wrek. You guys know him as the co-host of Wildin' Out with Nick Cannon, but he has a long history in hip-hop. Stories with Mac Dre, E40, Tupac. We're going to go down memory lane with DJ D-Wrek and just have an absolute blast along the way. You guys get to come along for the ride. Let's get it.
One life to live, one life to shine. I pray to God that I live my life right. So in the meantime, in between time, get you some money, baby, and I'ma try my best to do likewise. And I know that money coming, I know that hustle coming. I am right. I'm trying to get it right. Yeah.
Let me unlock the door for you there, brother.
What's happening?
DJ D-Wrek.
What's going on?
What's going on with you?
Fine.
How are you, bro?
I'm good, man.
We're finally doing this, man.
Finally sitting here with Cuenca. Cuenca.
That's right. And
Safety first.
for being so gracious to join me, Crep Protect is the presenting sponsor of this show, of Cruisin with Kevin. So this is shoe cleaning products for you. Now, I know you're in COVID mode, so you're just wearing sandals all the time, but once we get back into the rhythm and you're back on.
Absolutely. Because, I mean, I don't play too much no more. Well, actually, maybe this will get me playing again and getting my shoes dirty.
Yeah, playing what? What's your
I might mess with a little,
something?
A little round ball.
Okay.
I'm dangerous from the outside, man. I'm telling you, man. They don't, you know what I'm saying? I'm 5'10", but man.
Yeah. I feel it.
I'm nasty.
Bro. When you are playing hoops, what's your go-to basketball shoe? And this could be like from back in the day,
man,
or current.
My go-to basketball shoe is something with like some ankle support. You know, I my left ankle is flimsy. And
the kids these days, we come from an era where ankle support was a big deal.
Absolutely, because we came from where you didn't have, if you used to just rock the Chuck Taylors.
Yeah.
And you finally got like a pair of shoes with some, remember them old school Reeboks that used to, or them old school, the leather Chuck Taylors, the high tops.
I mean, that was a little before my day, D-Wrek.
I'm just saying.
But,
I used to see them on TV shows. I didn't personally. No, I'm just saying though, when you finally got something with ankle support, man, he was like, oh my gosh, it's like I'm bionic.
Yeah. Were you a big Jordan guy growing up?
I was. It started off with Dr. J.
Okay.
And then when Jordan came on the scene, I used to go to the Warriors games all the time. My first Warriors game was in '84.
Wow,
and
so that was before even Chris Mullin was there, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah. I mean, Joe Barry Carroll and people like, I don't even know if Joe Barry Carroll was playing.
Yeah, I think that's like when Mullin was coming out of college at St. John's.
But I'm just saying that's when I started going to. I was in 8th grade, and that's when I started going to Warriors games all the time. And then when Jordan came on the scene, I was dating a girl that was an usher over there at the Coliseum. So I used to see all the Jordan games.
Well played.
Yeah. That was an accident too, but it was a good accident.
Is there one, like if you look back on your childhood, I know there were a couple pairs of shoes that I was like, man, I never got them, and now as I've gotten older, it's like you go back and you're like, all right, I need to go get these. Was there one shoe like that where maybe, your mom was working hard, she's providing for you and your sister, but just couldn't swing it, and you're like, all right, I'm gonna go get these as soon as I get some money?
And I do every time. I always get the threes.
The Jordan threes?
The threes, because those are my favorite ones. And shoot, I didn't get my first pair of threes until the 90s.
Yeah.
It was the 90s, and they were I got them and I wore them. People were like, oh, you gonna mess them up? I was like, I'm wearing these shoes. I am wearing them.
Nice. And now you got some Crep Protect to keep them fresh, man.
Absolutely. I got a bunch of them now. So every time I see them, wherever I see them, I get them. Yeah. I was in Brooklyn and I saw a red pair, boom. Or I'll get like, production to get me some. So.
Big time.
Well,
Hey, production, can you go?
Production, yeah. I'm gonna need. What kind of shoes you want, D-Wrek? I want all the threes in every color.
Must be nice, man.
Hey, I'm gonna use that while I got it.
That's right. you mentioned production. I'm assuming you're talking about the Wild 'N Out show.
Yeah.
But before that, I think obviously people are familiar with you being the DJ and the co-host of that show.
Mm-hmm.
But you put in a ton of work to get there. I want to go back to just life in the Bay Area, where you're from, and like at a young age you started getting involved in hip hop. Like,
Yeah.
Can you take us back to those times?
Well, I was born in Hayward. At Kaiser, but we're from Oakland, you know, and so we lived in Oakland, and right in North Oakland, and I lived there until I was like eight years old, and then we moved to Vallejo, East Vallejo first, and then we moved to North Vallejo. But I went to school, so I went to elementary school in Oakland, went to elementary school in Vallejo, and I went to private school in Napa. So
Big shout out to Napa.
shout out to Napa.
Home of Kevin Cuenca.
Shout out to, what is it, Jefferson Boulevard?
That's right. Rolling
Shout
down
out
the J, cruise night.
Cruisin the J. Shout out to Trancas.
Yes,
All
Trinket
of that.
Steakhouse.
Yeah, all of that. Queen of the Valley.
My brother lives off Trinket now.
Oh yeah, yeah. So you know, so I went to private school in Napa, but my grandparents lived in Castro Valley. So my the middle of my sophomore year, I went to live with my grandparents, and I went to Castro Valley High. So I graduated from there. It was
Trojans.
cool. Castro Valley Trojans,
Big
green and gold.
And we got to give a shout out to, you might know this guy. He plays for the Warriors now, but he graduated
Yeah.
from Castro Valley High.
Yeah.
Mr. Juan Anderson.
We've chopped it up on Instagram.
Juan is dope. I
Uh-huh.
covered his high school. His high school team was so raw. It was him, and I want to say the kid's first name was Rodney. His last name was Bobbitt. And the two of them were so raw together, bro. And then Juan went on to play at Marquette. What was it like for you at Castro Valley High in that day?
It was 4 black people. It was probably like about 12 of us out of.
Wow, because it was way more diverse when I was covering.
Yeah,
that school.
no, it's like I don't know if it's half and half now, but it's a good 40% probably. But when I was there, it was probably like 14 of us, and you know, Castro Valley had its reputation of being the headquarters of the KKK at one time.
No
you know,
shit.
but my grandparents bought a house there in like '67. So I always spent my summers in Castro Valley.
Hello.
And I'm trying to pay attention to the interview. You know, things walking around here. Anyway, so I was always in Castro Valley. You know, in Oakland and stuff like that. Even, you know, when I was growing up in Vallejo, I got cousins in Hayward and stuff. And, you know, when you're from the Bay, you got relatives all over the Bay. So, you know, you move around, and I'm just glad I was able to do that. But Castro Valley was a trip. It was cool. I didn't have any real problems.
And so after that, you went to college to study drama? If I'm correct?
Yeah, well, drama and business administration. I went to Chabot College. You know, it just felt like a hub that all the, you know, Bay Area, all the East Bay schools, you know, seniors from the year before went to and hung out at, and, you know, to try to figure it out. But while I was in high school, like sometimes I cut school to go and record. I used to go to the studio down in Santa Cruz, and so I used to cut school and go down there. So I was always, while I was in high school, I was still, you know, I knew I wanted to be in show business.
Yeah.
So when I was going to Chabot, I was a cashier at Costco, and so I was working at Costco, going to college, and getting studio time, and then I started getting shows. So I'm traveling, I'm going to Texas, I'm going places I've never been, like, you know, doing shows in Arizona, doing shows in Southern California and stuff. Look at that.
In the pink?
Yeah.
See, I wish we had the 360 camera. We could show the people.
That's all right. I don't know. Man, anyway, so then that started pulling my focus, and I said, you know, I was an extra in a movie called Made in America with Will Smith and Whoopi Goldberg and Ted Danson, and they shot that at Tech.
At Oakland Tech?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was in the graduation scene, and I was like, I want to do this for real. And so right after that is when I moved to LA.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Like, you obviously you had this internal feeling of, hey, I want to be in show business, but you're on this movie just as an extra, but it like sounds like it really lit a fire under you. Like, okay,
Absolutely.
this is my sign. I really got to do this now and make the efforts.
Yeah, because it was cool. Because Will was real cool. Will Smith was real cool. He was personable with everybody. We was all like, you know, sigging on each other, and you know,
Sigging is making fun of each
yeah,
other. That's a
sigging,
Bay Area term.
yeah,
It's fun.
making
Like
fun, sigging fine, you know. So we were all doing that, and it just seemed normal. Like he just made it. He wasn't real pretentious, and I was like, oh, if he could just be normal. I mean, it's normal people in this business, you know, and so I'm a normal guy, you know, with some extraordinary skills, talents, and things like that. So I'm gonna go do that too. So that was one of the motivating factors that brought me out this way.
Yeah. And you mentioned doing shows. This was a rap group that you were in as a youngster. Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah, at this time, at this point, it was with my the dude who I ended up forming a rap group with.
Gotcha.
So it was this dude named Diamond D. What I did at one point was I gave my demo to this dude named Dave Miguel, who was managing Diamond D, and he said, "Yo, I like your demo. I want to work with you. I want to develop you. You know, help develop you. In the meantime, why don't you come be Diamond D's hype man?" So that's how I started doing shows like that. But even before that, I was doing shows with this dude named Ben B. Hard out of Richmond. He had like some really big local hits.
Okay.
You know, I mean, heavy rotation on KSOL and KMEL, and I don't even think I was listening to KDIA at that time. But so even before that, I was working with you know, Ben B. Hard, Chaz Hayes, and you know, just on the local scene and stuff like that. And, you know, and growing up in Vallejo, you know, I went to school with Mac Dre. We were in the same class at Springstown Junior High, and so we were, you know, everybody was a b-boy. Everybody was into hip hop. Whatever was popping at the time was what we was doing. So, you know, everybody just kind of got bit by the bug, and you know, you got, you know, from out of that, you had like 40 and Dre and, you know, the Mac and all types of people out of Vallejo. N2D, Pana Deuce, all that.
Pana Deuce. Shout out to Baby Bash.
Shout out to
friend
Baby
of the
Bash.
show.
Yee.
So at that time, like when you start meeting guys, like you mentioned Mac Dre, when you meet a guy like that, was it too early to know that he was going to be what he would become? Or is it just like, we're all doing this stuff, we all love it, but and you see talent in different people, but it's like you never really know who's gonna catch on and blow up?
I'm trying to remember. See, we were like 12 years old, but he always, there was something about him. You knew he was special because he always liked attention. Gotcha. You know, he wasn't even one of the best poppers. You know, I mean, you know, the Filipino dudes killed the popping game in Vallejo, and you know, I was pretty good too. But Dre wasn't that great at popping, but he would always get in the circle, no matter what. People would be like, you know, get up out of there or whatever, you know. But he would do his thing, you know, and he was not tripping. And he would clown while he was doing it. So if you did something that was dope and Dre couldn't do it as good as you, he would just make fun of the way you did it. And so I think that may have helped lead to the comedic part of his rap career.
Yeah, he was such a showman, especially in his later years, and the dances that he was making up. You know, but back in that time, like you mentioned, b-boy, and it seemed like probably everywhere you were going, you were surrounded by hip hop
everywhere,
and everyone was just gravitating toward it in different aspects of the culture.
Yeah, because you had some people that were drawn to the DJ side, then the b-boying side, and then I don't know too many people. We used to like bang on the turntable. I mean, bang on the lunch tables, you know, in the cafeterias and stuff like that. but nobody. I don't remember people really starting to rap until like the mid to late 80s. And just it. But like you said, people kind of gravitated to whatever pulled them that way. But a lot of it was dancing, because when you're preteen, early teenager and stuff like that, you're starting to come into your own. And one of the first ways that kids start to express themselves is at the school dance. So that's when the girls like, oh, he could dance. Ooh, look at D-Wrek. We in Beverly Hills now.
Yes, sir.
It's about to be.
Let the people know about Making Ends, how this came about, how long the group performed, like how did this all come about?
So like I told you, I was the hype man for a dude named Diamond D, and I moved to LA in '92, and I called him one day and I was like, yo, I got a studio situation out here. You should come out to LA and work with me on a group situation. And he was like, well, I'm not trying to rap right now, so I'll produce or whatever. I said, cool. So we came up with the name Making Ends. I can't even remember how we came up with it, but we came up with it because we was just trying to make some ends.
Get some money.
Yeah, so Making Ends, MAKIN hyphen capital E capital N capital Z. So it's Making Ends, and he came down in like February of '94, and we got a record deal in November of '94.
Wow. Yeah,
so it was kind of quick, as far as like he and I working in the studio together was just like, he would come up with a track and I had a hook just like that. Our chemistry was really, really good and just productive. The group lasted, that was '94. We did and he ended up getting mixed up in the wrong crowd and going back to the Bay. And then but I had to keep going, I didn't have nothing else to do. I was tired of working at Costco, and so I started showcasing around LA. And so I had this record deal, then the record company started bouncing checks to me. So I got out of that contract, and then I started showcasing, doing the ASCAP showcases around here in LA, and I won all of them. And that was in '95, and I won all of those. And one of the prizes was a development deal with G-Funk. And G-Funk had their deal distribution through Def Jam. And so I was like, okay, I'm about to be signed to Def, about to be one of the first West Coast. So I did. Richie Rich was, I think, already signed to Def Jam, but because
he came out with Seasoned Veteran,
right,
that label.
And so if everything would have worked out, I'd have been a G-Funk / Def Jam artist. But it didn't work out. Warren had a lot of his homies from Long Beach signed to his label, so I was like back burner artist.
He's got to take care of them first.
Absolutely, yeah. So a couple years went by, and then I met Nick. I was doing production on different TV shows and stuff like that, and doing commercials, acting in commercials and music videos because I used to dance and stuff. So I was just really doing the Hollywood shuffle, just trying to eat, and pay rent and do everything that I could do within my moral compass.
Yeah, it's before OnlyFans.
Yeah, exactly. And then I met Nick Cannon, and he was just a kid, and he became like my little brother, and we just started creating and doing stuff together, and then now I'm driving through Beverly Hills with Cuenca.
That's so crazy. So you said Nick was a kid. How old was he?
When I met Nick, it was I think it was the summertime of '97, and so he must have been like 16. Yeah, because I think he turned. Yeah, his birthday's in October. So
at that point, you're mostly DJing for him?
Nah, okay. When we first started working together, we were production partners, and we did this Nickelodeon tour, and I was his hype man. This is before he got the deal at Jive, and I was his hype man, and we did this show, did this Nickelodeon tour, did like, I don't know, 40 something cities, and you know, the hype man doesn't get as much respect as the hype man wants. And then when he got his deal over at Jive, he asked me, he said, "Hey man, can you DJ?" I said, "Yeah, I mean, I can DJ. I mean, it's one of the things I used to mess around with, you know, earlier." And he said, "Man, you should just be the DJ, so that the label can't separate us. The label can't say, oh, well, you don't need your hype man for this and you don't need your hype man for that. And then we could just do everything we need to do on the music side together." And so,
smart idea.
Yeah. Look, he's a smart dude. He's a visionary. And so I said, okay. And so got some turntables, a mixer, and all of a sudden, it was like just like riding a bike. I hopped on the turntables and all of a sudden I could scratch again, and you know, it took me a minute to get my to get back to being able to blend records and stuff like that. But you know, then it was like riding a bike. Then I became DJ D-Wrek, and so from there, that's how that happened.
Gotcha. And so around that time, obviously, rap is going to a whole nother level. Like you mentioned, Richie Rich. He was tied to Tupac, and Tupac was close with Spice One and E40 and Too Short and all these guys. So, you know, Pac is down here in LA. You've got guys from the Bay coming down here. You ended up at the Rappers Ball music video shoot.
Yeah.
You're in there, Calabasas mansion.
Yeah.
Dancing with Pac and 40 and everybody's going crazy. Like, can you talk about that moment and just that period of time and how special that era was?
Well, you know, you never really know how special an era is until after the era is over. We got to back up a little bit, because as soon as when I moved to LA, I didn't know anybody out here. I knew nobody. So I just started going to spots that I heard were hot. And I went to this spot called the Mayan downtown. And
it's still there, actually.
The Mayan is still there, but I think they called the club like Jamaica Gold. I can't remember what they called it. But one of the first people I saw that I knew from the Bay was Pac at the club, and he had just moved to LA, and we chopped it up. He told me he was living in Sherman Oaks, and he had just moved to LA. Asked me what I was doing, and I told him I just moved out here, and so we were. Pac and I were acquaintances. We weren't homies or anything like that, but he was homies with my homies. Like Pac and 40 is my brother. You know what I'm saying? He's like my big brother. And him and Pac were tight. Him and Chico, Spice One is Chico. They were like, you couldn't separate those two. I used to see Pac and Chico together all the time. And anytime like 40 would come down to the Bay or Chico would come down to the Bay, because I was managed by Chaz Hayes, who managed Spice One and 40, and I think he managed Be Legit too. I'm not sure. Don't quote me. And so we would all be at the what's the hotel that we used to be at? It wasn't the Mondrian, it was the what was the name of that hotel? It was all of us was there. The Mossy, all of us. I can't remember the name of the hotel. Okay. But it was in West Hollywood, and we would just all be over there. And so that's how, everybody kind of was just kind of connected like that. And when the Rappers Ball video shoot came up, Passion, there was a singer from the Bay, from Oakland. Her name is Passion, and she was in the video. And my girlfriend at the time was dancing for Passion. So she was going to the video shoot, and I told her I was going to meet her up there.
Can't let your girl go to that video shoot without you.
No, not with all them players, But
you might have never got her back, bro.
Yeah, and Aunt Banks happened to need a ride to the video shoot, so I think he was staying at the Mondrian, and I picked up Aunt Banks, and we drove out to Calabasas.
Aunt Banks.
And kicked it, and it was cool. It was a long video shoot. It was a long video shoot, but it was cool. I think that was the last time I saw Pac, because right after that, it was maybe a few months after that is when the Vegas incident happened. So,
was there a moment in that span of time where you said you and Pac are acquaintances, but was there one either conversation or a moment outside of that music video shoot that you either remember fondly, or was like, maybe you guys were actually sitting down and you had a little more time to chop it up than the usual, hey, what's up, what's cracking, and you keep it moving?
Well, when I met Pac, it was at a club called One Up in San Francisco, and
another famous spot.
Yeah. And there was a girl he was talking to who was best friends with a girl I was talking to, and he was with all his dudes and I was with a bunch of my dudes from Hayward, and all of his dudes surrounded. One of my homeboys was dancing with Pac's girl. We didn't know it was Pac's girl. We didn't even know Pac at the time, and this is way before, you know, everybody was still living in the Bay, and so all of his dudes was like looking at us and watching his girl, and I asked the girl I was dancing with, I was like, yo, what's going on here? Like, who is this wall of cats looking at it? She says, oh, my friend is talking to one of the dudes over there. And I remember seeing all these rings on this one, you know, the smaller dudes hands and stuff like that. And anyway, long story short, my partner ends up shaking the spot because I told him, I said, hey, unless you want to get mopped up by all these cats that are looking at us, because it's like 3 of us and 14 of them. And I said, unless she means that much to you, you need to stop talking to her. Anyway, long story short, she ends up coming around the corner. She ends up saying, hey, let's go get something to eat. And she comes around the corner in the Jetta and picks me up. I hop in the back seat, and Pac is in the front seat rolling a blunt. And that's how we met. You know, so.
That's a hell of a story, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. That was my first and like longest conversation I had with Pac, and just chopping it up about, you know, he was doing the digital underground thing, and you know, we just knew a lot of the same people. He was from Marin City. I knew some people out there, and you know, like I said, when you from the Bay, you know, and you come of age, you start moving around the Bay. So, you know, you're down in San Jose, you start going to Reno, you start going all over the place. You know, you start getting girls in different cities. Once you start driving and you start taking BART, it's a wrap.
And so at that time, things are obviously growing in Nick's career, with you as well. And so at one point, you guys are watching 106 in Park, and he just comes up with the idea. Is that how it all went down for Wildin' Out?
Yeah, we were watching 106 in Park, and music video. I don't know if we were watching 106 in Park. Yeah. I know we were watching BET, and we were watching music videos, and then just, you know, once again sigging on each other. And he was like, yo, this could be a TV show. And I was like, what can be a TV show? He's like, man, this could be a TV show. And he described it. He said, we should just get all the comedians we know and all our the rappers we know, and just like put it all together and just start clowning. Just do you know? And I said, what? And when I'm gonna be telling jokes? And I said, what am I gonna do? He said, you gonna be the DJ. And I said, well, I'm gonna be telling jokes from behind the turntables? I don't understand what you mean. He said, nah. I'm gonna be the host, you gonna be the co-host, and then we gonna run it like that. And then I said, so I still don't understand. We just gonna be wilding out or something? So we just gonna get a bunch of people and just start wilding out? And he says, exactly. Exactly. And wilding out was birthed out of that. And then, you know, it kind of like, it just kind of spiderwebbed and became what it is today.
That's wild, man. So, you know, for people that haven't ever been, for the, you know, 99% of people who've never been a part of something like that, you know, the show goes for seasons and seasons and seasons, but starting out, were there some real moments where you're like, man, I don't know if this show's gonna last, how are we gonna pull this off? And then just year after year, just kind of kept going?
Yeah, we never, even now, you know, we still never know if we come. We know that they may say, okay, we want 50 episodes. We want 50 episodes, but are we gonna do 50 episodes?
Yeah.
You know, so
pay for 50 episodes.
You know, even when we shot the pilot, we just shot the pilot, and you know, Nick used his network to get it in the right hands. And I remember Nick and I were at the rehearsal for the Soul Train Awards, and his manager came up and walked up to us and said, So you guys want to do a TV show? I don't know if those were the exact words, but it was something to that effect.
Yeah.
You know, and we're like, yeah. He said, yeah, MTV wants to do Wildin' Out, and that was what, early '95 or late '94? I think it was early '95. I'm saying 05.
That's what I meant. Yeah, I figured you meant 05.
Yeah, and yeah, it's 2020 right now.
Dang, man. Crazy.
Yeah.
And
like you said, like we never, after every season, we never were 100% sure that we were going to come back. You know, we'd get a call and say, okay, we get an email. You know, each of the cast members or the main cast, like myself and Nick was already in those meetings, but I would get an email saying, hey, you know, they picked up season whatever 5, season 6 or whatever.
Dang. And then you would just go and record for a little while? Or were you
This is the hotel.
We found it?
This is the hotel. Pull up. The Montrose. Yeah. This is the Montrose right here. This is where we all used to kick it right here. We had the 360 camera. Y'all could see it. We used to run through this whole spot.
That's crazy that we just drove up on it like that.
Yeah. This is the La Montrose. And then there was another one too.
So you guys would just go in there? Was it like a lobby or you'd get rooms
No,
and just tear it down?
rooms. Because the lobby is tiny.
Mm-hmm.
But there was another spot. I forgot where we were. Over there on the I think it's a little bit further west that we used to be at. And the Mondrian is right up the street. Yeah.
Great memories, huh?
Yeah, it's crazy.
A little nostalgia. So there's obviously been, you know, countless hilarious moments and episodes and all that from this show.
Mm-hmm.
But when I was, you know, doing a little backstory research, you start to find these clips on YouTube that people have put together of you and Emmanuel Hudson going back and forth, and there's some really funny videos, bro, of the Mr. asking all them questions.
Yeah.
How did that all spark? And like, just talk to the audience about that fun ribbing, or like you would say sigging of each other throughout the show.
So E-Man, just so y'all know, E-Man is my dude. That's my dude. He's got a really bad attitude, and it's not just with me. It's with everybody. So I don't feel special that he, you know, acts like he don't like me. But that's my guy. He's just not a nice guy. But he's extremely talented and extremely funny, and you know, but he says a lot of dumb stuff. And so our running joke is he'll say something like it's fact, and I'll be like, no, it ain't, and then I'll prove it to him that he's wrong, and he'll go, oh, and then I'll say, idiot, and then I just walk away. So I just call him idiot all the time, and so, you know, then it just turned into, that's why I hate you. That's why I don't really like you. You ugly anyway. You know, we get to be kids. We get to be like, it's like we're in elementary school on that show. I love the way he takes the buzzer. You know what I mean? Like, cause he, especially like if he thinks something is real funny and he's putting everything he has into it, and he looks over at me and waiting for that bell that he thinks he's getting, and he gets a buzzer, and he just the deflation is, you can't even buy that. You know, I love that reaction. But like with the dime joke, everybody's like, why don't you give him a butt bell for it? I just didn't like the joke. You know, and I thought it was an old reference, and because I'm the judge, I gotta stand by my decision, you know, and so yeah, for all you cats thinking I'm supposed to give him a bell for something that I gave him a buzzer for, I'm not gonna change my standing on that.
There's gonna be no reviewing of calls that you make, right? You're not gonna have.
No. I set a precedent already. I'm the judge and executioner.
Has there ever been someone who was like legit pissed off after a show based on the buzzers you gave?
Oh yeah, I don't have to wait until the show is over for people to get mad at me. People get mad at me as soon as Nick says we'll be right back with more Wildin' Out, and then we go into the we throw to a commercial. The people that are mad at me, they come from their side of the stage to my side of the stage to be like, D-Wrek, man, why you give me a buzzer for, man, I thought, you don't like me, huh, D-Wrek? What you got against me, man? Like, how come you, like, you know, it was funny, man. It was still funny.
Yeah.
but you just got a buzzer. It was funny that you got a buzzer. So, there you go. Take that with you. Take that with you back over there to your side.
And so obviously, as the show grows in popularity,
Mm-hmm.
and Nick's space in Hollywood as an A-list celebrity grows in popularity,
Mm-hmm.
the magnifying glass gets bigger and bigger, not only on him, but on you guys and
Mm-hmm.
everyone on the cast. Really, it's just the times that we live in, whether
Especially
it be
because social media.
Social media, exactly. How challenging is that for you? As like, you're like one of his probably best friends,
Mm-hmm.
and so you have a personal relationship, and then you have a business relationship on top of that. How is that for you in these current times where we have to be so mindful of what we say and how we frame things and not getting things taken out of context? How do you navigate that as a friend and as essentially a business partner? Or do you just say, hey, look, it is what it is, no matter what, I'm not even going to talk to him about that stuff, and our friendship will be fine regardless? Like, how do you navigate that?
Our friendship is gonna be fine regardless, period. Because we were friends when we were broke together, and all of this extra stuff, whether it's money, hot cars, women, whatever the case, TV shows, any of that stuff, is all a byproduct of our friendship. You know what I'm saying? So Nick has always said, I ain't afraid. I've been broke. I ain't afraid to be broke again. It'd take a long time for him to get broke.
It'd be coming from quite the mountainside.
I'm gonna beat him on that race. I'm gonna win that race.
Hey, come on down, brother. I'll welcome you to the house.
But yeah, no, we're not gonna let business come in between our friendship. On the friendship side, we're gonna say whatever we need to say to each other, because we know that can't be broken. We friends. We're not gonna let the business interfere with our friendship. You know, Nick is a grown man. I've known him since he was 16. I've known Nick over half his life, and he's a grown man, and people are gonna say what they say. I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say. We're gonna feel how we feel. But yeah, no, we're not gonna let that come between in anything that we built. Empires crumble, and then they get rebuilt. So I don't even think ours is. I think maybe a couple of bricks have been taken away, but our little empire ain't crumbled.
Obviously, what he's built, what you guys have built together, can last on any space if you wanted it to.
Right.
There's so many different avenues now to get content in front of people that, you know, maybe something like this 15 years ago would have been really tough. And now it's like, we can end up over here or here. We can do it ourselves. We can do it on Patreon. We can do it anywhere. I mean, there's so many different spaces in which content can live now. Just for you personally, like during these changing times, social media, etc., and you've accomplished so much, and you've been in the entertainment business for a while now, is there something left for you personally that's an internal goal that you've been shooting for that keeps you going on those times when it is a little more stressful or whatever?
I want to personally do more acting. I've done a ton of commercials, and that's fun. You know, I love being in front of the camera, and you know, being able to be someone other than myself and be silly and all that kind of stuff. Wilding out is kind of an extension of like one of my personalities. I get to be you know, sarcastic and condescending, and you know, just I just get to be that. I get to be D-Wrek as a character, you know. But yeah, I want to do more acting and things like that. And so that's like that drives me. You know, the good thing is that, you know, wilding out is if you're pursuing something, like if you're pursuing acting, most actors here in LA, they're pursuing acting, but they got day jobs. They're waiters, and they're, you know, working department stores or whatever. They, you know, they got flexible hours so that they can go to auditions. So that's their day job. People always say, don't quit your day job. I'm not ever trying to quit my day job, because I got the best day job in the world. Wildin' Out has opened up a lot of doors for me. It takes care of my family. It takes care of my mortgage, everything that I needed to do, and it's fun. And Wildin' Out is a family, so you know, anytime we're not together, all of us, I'm talking about from, you know, the lowest totem pole PA all the way to Nick and everybody in between, it's a family. And those first few days back to when we go back into production, it's, you know, every time we go back into production, it's so much fun. Like, we meet up at the hotels, we take over hotel lobbies, we take over hotel restaurants and stuff like that, because we all just hanging out and wilding out literally all the time. We play the games that we play on the show in the restaurant at the hotel. I mean, you know, just being in the industry, you meet and you know a lot of people, but you get to meet a lot of new people, especially a lot of the young talent that's coming up. I remember when Travis Scott came on, performed on the show. I had only seen, like, you know, drawings of Travis. You know how, like, he was kind of a mystery. So I didn't know what Travis Scott looked like. And I remember they called me down and they said, all right, D-Wrek, the artist, Travis Scott is here for, or they said time for artist sound check. So I went down to the stage and there was some people around my, the DJ booth, and there was this dude sitting there smoking a blunt on set. And I had no clue who he was. And I was like, excuse me, bro. And I had to step up into the DJ booth, and he said, oh, okay, my bad. And he moved out the way. And then I think he handed me a hard drive or something. And he said, this is the track. And I looked and I said, I'm D-Wrek. He goes, Travis. I said, oh, smoking the blunt in my DJ booth is Travis Scott. You know what I mean? So, you know, I get to meet these young, talented, extremely talented cats that, you know, that might not even be on my radar, because I'm from a whole different era of hip hop, you know. And you know, the music is great, but like I said, it just might not be on my radar because I'm from a different era, you know.
Yeah, you mentioned being from a different era. There's one time where you're in Sacramento, you're at the Arden Mall with Nick Cannon, and you walk up on Andre Hicks, Mr. Mac Dre.
Yeah.
I'm assuming Nick knew about Mac Dre, maybe just didn't know you guys had a relationship.
Well, he knew, because I told him, you know, just being from Vallejo, and he's from San Diego, and San Diego and Vallejo are real similar. And so yeah, you know, I told him, I said, hey, I'm, you know, from the Bay, from Vallejo, you know, we're 40, and Mac Dre is from blah blah blah. And Nick was like, man, I love 40, I love Mac Dre, and so he was already familiar with Mac Dre. So then we just happened to be, we were on tour, and I think this was 03, and we needed to go to the mall to go get something for the show that night. So we got up and went to the mall, and walking towards Foot Locker, and who I see off in the distance is Andre Hicks. I'm like, yo, Dre. Well, actually, I didn't even say Dre, because you know, as kids, we didn't call him Dre. You know, he called me Derek. I called him Andre, and so I was like, Andre Hicks. He was like, Derek. You know,
it's been a while.
Yeah, it had been a while, and so yeah, I introduced him to Nick, and you know, so Nick got to meet Mac Dre before Mac Dre passed.
And obviously, you and Nick have almost a brotherly bond.
Mm-hmm.
You're a father as well. Like, what's it like for you now, especially during COVID times, just being a dad, being able to be present with your family and pass off some of the lessons that your mom taught you along the way?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, right now, you and I sitting together are one of the rare times that I'm not with my son. So, you know, it's cool, but I miss him. You know, I know I'm gonna see him when I get home or whatever the case may be. But you know, I've never had somebody in my life that I don't even know what the emotion is that he brings out in me. But all the cliche stuff that people say you have, all the good cliche stuff that people say you have when you have kids, it's true. and it's magnified. At least for me, it's magnified like 100, 1,000 times, something like that. Because this dude brings so much joy to my life, and I'm able to give him opportunities that I didn't necessarily have when I was a kid. So I'm thankful for that.
No, that's dope, man.
Mm-hmm.
So right now we are rolling in a Genesis G70.
Really?
And you mentioned when I picked you up that off camera, you actually went to a dealership trying to look at Genesis like this.
Yeah.
And they didn't have any because it was just a regular Hyundai dealership.
They didn't. Yeah. So just
what do
so
you think,
know,
bro?
this is dope. It's clean. It smells nice.
That's that new leather.
Yeah. You got the little readout there.
Yeah,
It's
bro.
Bluetooth.
Yeah, got all that.
What car ain't Bluetooth? That's a joke. No, it's nice, man. And it's good on gas, huh?
Yeah.
See,
So it's got some heat too.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, at some point we'll open it up a little bit.
Okay. See, that's what I was looking for. I got a big old truck that is not nice on gas at all, but it's cool. It's fun, and so I was looking for something that I could squat around in that was still stylish and fly. So I went to the Hyundai dealership looking for a Genesis, and they said, we don't have them here. And I said, where do y'all have them? And I think is the dealership in Beverly Hills?
Well, they have a few different ones. I know there's a couple in the valley. Like there's one out towards Thousand Oaks, which is actually where I picked this one up. But yeah, I mean, there's one out in Glendale, Burbank area.
Okay.
As well, where they've got a little showroom and all that. So I love it, man.
Nice.
It's got some heat. It's quick. It's good on gas. It's fun to drive.
Yeah.
And they're actually coming out with a GV80, which will be their first SUV.
Okay.
So you can keep an eye out for that.
Yeah.
In the wintertime. But no, it's been so much fun to drive this. So huge shout out to Genesis.
Shout out to Genesis
for supplying the G70. What was your first car?
A Volkswagen Super Beetle.
Ooh.
It was a 1972 Super Beetle.
What's the difference between a Beetle and a Super Beetle?
I have no idea. It was shaped just like a bug. It drove just like a bug. But no, it was I back then, all you needed was a car back then, and you could get a girl. You could get girls. I went on so many dates in that car. Pulling up, as loud as that thing was, the exhaust was crazy. Sometimes you would just stop for no reason, and then you have to turn it off. 10 minutes. I mean, it was already off, but I'm saying it would stop in the middle of the road, wait 10 minutes, and then it come back on and be like, sorry, I had to take a nap or something.
Hey man, it's all good.
But yeah, that was my first car. I've had a lot of cars, but I got that when I was 16 years old. Kids nowadays don't even want to drive; they just want to take Uber everywhere.
It's not the same.
Uber and Lyft.
We still take pride in this.
Man, I love driving.
So this thing's got 365 horsepower, twin turbo.
Okay.
Yeah, man, we ain't messing around. I don't know how much. I might have a little space here to open it up a little bit for you. Something real chill, and then we'll get off on Wilshire.
Just be careful with me.
No, of course, bro. You can stay in this line now.
No, you good. What I'm saying is, I felt a little, the G's pushed me back.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
At some point, we got to get you driving one of these bad boys.
Hey, I would drive one of these every day.
That's clean.
Every day. People like, man, you D-Wrek, you supposed to be. Yeah, I'm supposed to be in this.
Yeah, as you get older, it's more about like the quality as opposed to the name.
Yeah.
D-Wrek, I cannot thank you enough.
Man, this is fun, man. This is fun. You should do this more often with people, man.
You think it should be like maybe a show or something?
I
think I should try to get a sponsor?
I'm gonna give you this right here. I'm gonna give you this. You take this and do what you will with it. All right.
Got you.
Get more people to sit in your passenger seat, man, and reminisce with them. You know what I'm saying? That's my gift to you.
I feel like you might be onto something, bro.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I mean, it's gonna take some time.
You gotta get some cameras.
I gotta flesh out the idea and figure it out. Maybe reach out to some companies. I should really hit up Genesis and KevinCuencaTV and see if they
hit up Genesis. Tell them I sent you.
Okay.
Because I really enjoy their vehicles. It's a Korean car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
안녕하세요. Yeah, man, but you know, do something with that, man.
Yeah, I don't know. You really think it's got some potential?
I think it's got right now. I think you know how like tadpoles start growing legs. I think you got some legs coming in. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely got to get some cameras. There's gonna be a lot of equipment, bro.
Yeah.
And I mean, outside of you, I don't think anyone's gonna want to sit in the car with me. Especially since I don't even have any money left after paying you.
Well, you know, I gotta pay for that. You know,
That's my whole budget, bro.
I appreciate it, man. I can keep my kicks clean.
Heck yeah, you
know
can.
What I'm saying?
Huge thank you to Crep Protect for hooking up our guests.
Yeah.
With all the shoe cleaning products.
Absolutely.
Keeping the lights on in this place.
Absolutely.
I should turn them off because I can't really afford that.
You know, you're gonna have to get a new battery. It's solar. We on solar though. We on solar right now. Yeah. Well, right on, man.
Awesome thing. Seriously, bro.
Yep.
Thank you, man.
Okay, cool. We'll chop it up soon.
Yeah.
All right.
Absolutely, bro.
Okay.
I told you guys DJ D-Wrek had some stories, had an absolute blast with him in the car today. Can't thank you guys enough for joining me on this episode of Cruisin' with Kevin, and a huge shout out to Crep Protect for being the presenting sponsor, and Genesis for giving me this beautiful G70 to ride around in with DJ D-Wrek. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. We'll see you next time right here on Cruisin' with Kevin.
Marathon continues. TMC.